Jai Jai Śrī Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Welcome to the live studios here at Bhaktivedanta Ashram at Govardhana Hill. We'll be broadcasting here up until the 17th of October. You're welcome to stop by the studio. And we're reading from the Śrī Caitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila. And we're at chapter 14, the performance of Vṛndāvana pastimes. For those who want to know the details of rasa, we're in the midst of it. And we'll take up where we left off at text number 174. Pride, ambition, weeping, smiling, envy, fear, and anger are the 7 ecstatic loving symptoms manifested by a jubilant shrinking away. And these symptoms are called kila kinchita bhava. There are 7 other transcendental ecstatic symptoms. When they combine on the platform of jubilation, the combination is called Mahabhava. The 7 combined ingredients of Mahabhava are pride, ambition, fear, dry artificial crying, anger, envy, and mild smiling. There are 8 symptoms of ecstatic love on the platform of transcendental jubilation. And when they are combined and tasted by Kṛṣṇa, the Lord's mind is completely satisfied. Indeed, they are compared to a combination of yogurt, candy, ghee, honey, black pepper, camphor, and cardamom, which, when mixed together, are very tasty and sweet. Lord Sri Krishna is thousands upon thousands of times more satisfied when he sees Srimati Radharani's face light up from this combination of ecstatic love than he is by direct union with her. Purport: this is further explained in the following verse from the Ujjvala Nilamani, Anubhava Prakarana 41 of Srila Rupa Goswami. May the sight of Srimati Radharani's Kila Kinchita ecstasy, which is like a bouquet, bring good fortune to all. When Sri Krishna blocked Radharani's way to the Dan Gati, there was laughter within her heart. Her eyes grew bright, and fresh tears flowed from her eyes, reddening them. Due to her sweet relationship with Kṛṣṇa, her eyes were enthusiastic, and when her crying subsided, she appeared even more beautiful. Agitated by tears, Srimati Radharani's eyes were tinged with red, just like the eastern horizon at sunrise. Her lips began to move with jubilation and lusty desire. Her eyebrows curved, and her lotus-like face smiled mildly. Seeing Radharani's face exhibit such emotion, Lord Sri Krishna felt 1,000,000 times happier than when he embraced her. Indeed, Lord Sri Krishna's happiness is not at all mundane. This is a quotation from Govinda Lilamrita. Upon hearing this, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu became very happy, and being absorbed in this happiness, he embraced Svarūpa Dāmodara Goswami. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu then asked Svarūpa Dāmodara, please speak of the ecstatic ornaments decorating the body of Srimati Radharani, by which she enchants the mind of Sri Govinda. Being thus requested, Svarūpa Dāmodara began to speak. All the devotees of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu were very happy to hear him. Sometimes when Srimati Radharani is sitting, or when she is going to Vrindavana, she sees Kṛṣṇa. The symptoms of various ecstasies that become manifest at that time are called vilas. This is described in the following verse taken from Ujjvala Nilamani, Anubhava Prakarana 39. The various symptoms manifested in a woman's face, eyes, and the other parts of her body, and the way she moves, stands, or sits when she meets her beloved are called vilas. Svarūpa Dāmodara said timidity, jubilation, ambition, respect, fear, and the characteristics of the left-wing gopīs are all ecstatic symptoms that combine to agitate Srimati Radharani. This is explained in the following verse, which is found in the Govinda Lilamrita. When Srimati Radharani saw Lord Kṛṣṇa just before her, her progress stopped and she assumed an attitude of opposition. Although her face was slightly covered by a blue garment, her two starry eyes were agitated, being wide and curved. Thus she was decorated with the ornaments of Vilas, and her beauty increased to give pleasure to Śrī Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When Srimati Radharani stands before Kṛṣṇa, she stands bent in three places, her neck, waist, and legs, and her eyebrows dance. When there is an awakening of the various ecstatic features on Srimati Radharani's face and in her eyes that are appropriate to a charming feminine attitude, the Lalita ornament is manifest. When the bodily features are delicate and expertly curved, and when the eyebrows are very beautifully agitated, the ornament of feminine charm, called Lalita Alankar, is manifest. This verse is from Ujjvala Nilamani, Anubhava Prakarana 51. When Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa happens to see Srimati Radharani decorated with these Lalita ornaments, they both eagerly want to meet each other. When Srimati Radharani was decorated with the ornament of Lalita Alankar, just to increase Śrī Kṛṣṇa's love, an attractive curve was manifested by her neck, knees, and waist. This was brought about by her timidity and apparent desire to avoid Kṛṣṇa. The flickering movements of her eyebrows could conquer the powerful bow of Cupid. To increase the joy of her beloved, her body was decorated with the ornaments of Lalita Alankar. This verse was quoted from Govinda Lilamrita 9.14. When Kṛṣṇa comes forward and greedily snatches at the border of her sari, Srimati Radharani is actually very pleased within, but still she tries to stop him. This ecstatic attitude of Srimati Radharani is called Kutamita. When this ecstatic ornament is manifested, Radharani externally tries to avoid Kṛṣṇa. She apparently becomes angry, although she is very happy within. I misspoke, so I'll read it again. When this ecstatic ornament is manifested, Radharani externally tries to avoid Kṛṣṇa, and she apparently becomes angry, although she is very happy within. When the border of her sari and the cloth veiling her face are caught, she externally appears offended and angry, but within her heart she is very happy. Learned scholars call this attitude Kutamita. This is a quotation from Ujjvala Nilamani Anubhav Prakarana 44. Although Srimati Radharani was checking Kṛṣṇa with her hand, internally she was thinking, let Kṛṣṇa satisfy his desires. In this way she was very pleased within, although she externally displayed opposition and anger. Srimati Radharani externally displays a kind of dry crying, as if she is offended. Then she mildly smiles and admonishes Lord Kṛṣṇa. Actually, she has no desire to stop Kṛṣṇa's endeavor to touch her body with his hands. Yet Srimati Radharani, whose thighs are like the trunk of a baby elephant, protests his advances and sweetly smiling admonishes him. At such times she cries without tears on her charming face. In this way, Srimati Radharani, ornamented and decorated with various ecstatic symptoms which attract. In this way, Srimati Radharani is ornamented and decorated with various ecstatic symptoms which attract the mind of Śrī Kṛṣṇa. It is not at all possible to describe the unlimited pastimes of Śrī Kṛṣṇa, even though he himself describes them in his incarnation of Sahasravadana, the thousand-mouthed Sheshanag. At this time, Srivas Thakur smiled and told Svarūpa Dāmodara, my dear sir, please hear. Just see how opulent my goddess of fortune is. As far as Vṛndavana's opulence is concerned, that is a very important change in topic. I'll just read that verse 203 again. At this time, Srivas Thakur smiled and told Svarūpa Dāmodara, my dear sir, please hear. Just see how opulent my goddess of fortune is. And here we get a compare and contrast from the opulence of the Vaikuntha and with the sweetness of Vṛndavana. As far as Vrindavan's opulence is concerned, it consists of a few flowers and twigs. As keeping in mind that Śrīvas Thakur is Narada Muni, who's a devotee of Lord Narayan, Lakṣmī Narayan. As far as Vrindavan's opulence is concerned, it consists of a few flowers and twigs, some minerals from the hills, a few peacock feathers, and the plant known as Gunja. When Jagannātha decided to see Vrindavan, he went there, and upon hearing this, the goddess of fortune experienced restlessness and jealousy. She wondered, why did Lord Jagannātha give up so much opulence and go to Vrindavan? To make him a laughingstock, the goddess of fortune made arrangements for much decoration. Then the maidservant of the goddess of fortune said to the servants of Lord Jagannātha, why did your Lord Jagannātha abandon the great opulence of the goddess of fortune and for the sake of a few leaves, fruits and flowers, go to see the flower garden in Srimati Radharani? Go to see the flower garland of Srimati Radharani. Your master is so expert at everything, but why does he do such things? Now bring your master before the goddess of fortune. In this way, all the maidservants of the goddess of fortune arrested the servants of Jagannātha, bound them around the waist, and brought them before the goddess of fortune. When all the maidservants brought Lord Jagannāth's servants before the lotus feet of the goddess of fortune, the Lord's servants were fined and forced to submit. All the maidservants began to beat the Rath car with sticks, and they treated the servants of Lord Jagannātha almost like thieves. Finally, all of Lord Jagannāth's servants submitted to the goddess of fortune with folded hands, assuring her that they would bring Lord Jagannātha before her the very next day. Being thus pacified, the goddess of fortune returned to her apartment. Just see, my goddess of fortune is opulent beyond description. Śrīvas Thakur continued to address Svarūpa Dāmodara. Your gopīs are engaged in boiling milk and churning it into yogurt. But my mistress, the goddess of fortune, sits on a throne made of jewels and gems. Śrīvas Thakur, who was enjoying the mood of Narada Muni, thus made jokes. Hearing him, all the personal servants of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu began to smile. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu then told Śrīvas Thakur, my dear Śrīvas, your nature is exactly like that of Narada Muni. The Supreme Personality of Godhead's opulence is having a direct influence upon you. Svarūpa Dāmodara is a pure devotee of Vrindavana. He does not even know what opulence is, for he is simply absorbed in pure devotional service. Svarūpa Dāmodara then retorted, my dear Śrīvas, please hear me with attention. You have forgotten the transcendental opulence of Vrindavana. The natural opulence of Vṛndāvana is just like an ocean. The opulence of Dwarka and Vaikuntha is not even to be compared to a drop. Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, full of all opulences, and his complete opulences are exhibited only in Vrindavan Dham. Vrindavan Dham is made of transcendental touchstone. Its entire surface is the source of all valuable jewels, and the Chintamani stone is used to decorate the lotus feet of the maidservants of Vrindavana. Vrindavana is a natural forest of desire trees and creepers, and the inhabitants do not want anything but the fruits and flowers of those desire trees. In Vrindavan there are cows that fulfill all desires, kamantenus, and their number is unlimited. They graze from forest to forest and deliver only milk. The people want nothing else. In Vrindavan, the natural speech of the people sounds like music, and their natural motion resembles a dance. The water in Vrindavan is nectar, and the Brahmajyoti effulgence, which is full of transcendental bliss, is directly perceived there in its form. The gopis there are also goddesses of fortune, and they surpass the goddess of fortune who abides in Vaikuntha. In Vrindavan, Lord Kṛṣṇa is always playing his transcendental flute, which is his dear companion. The damsels of, Śrī Kanta Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpataravo Druma Bhumischintamani Ganamayi Toyam Amritam Sayatta Ganam Natyam Gamanamapi Vamshi Priyasaki Chiranandam Jyoti Paramapi Taraswadyam Apicha Sayatra Shiradi Sravati Surabhibhyasta Suma. Sorry. The damsels of Vrindavan, the gopis, are super goddesses of fortune. The enjoyer in Vrindavan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kṛṣṇa. The trees there are all wish-fulfilling trees, and the land is made of transcendental touchstone. The water is all nectar, the talking is singing, the walking is dancing, and the constant companion of Kṛṣṇa is his flute. The effulgence of transcendental bliss is experienced everywhere. Therefore, Vrindavan Dham is the only relishable abode. This quotation is from Brahma Samhita. The anklets on the damsels of Rajbhumi are made of Chintamani stone. The trees are wish-fulfilling trees, and they produce flowers with which the gopis decorate themselves. There are also wish-fulfilling cows, kamadhenus, which deliver unlimited quantities of milk. These cows constitute the wealth of Vrindavan. Thus, Vrindavan's opulence is blissfully exhibited. Srivas Thakur then, this is a verse from Bilvamangal Thakur. It's quoted in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Srivas Thakur then began to dance in ecstatic love. He vibrated sounds by slapping his armpits with the palms of his hands, and he laughed very loudly. Thus Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu heard these discussions about the pure transcendental mellow of Srimati Radharani, absorbed in transcendental ecstasy. Absorbed in transcendental ecstasy, the Lord began to dance. While Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu was dancing in ecstatic love and Svarūpa Dāmodara was singing, the Lord said, "Go on singing, go on singing." The Lord then extended his own ears. Thus Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu's ecstatic love was awakened by hearing the songs of Vrindavan. In this way he inundated Purushottam Jagannath Puri with love of Godhead. Finally, the goddess of fortune returned with her to her apartment. In due course of time, as Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu was dancing, afternoon arrived. After much singing, all 4 Sankirtan parties grew fatigued, but Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu's ecstatic love increased twofold. While dancing and absorbed in Srimati Radharani's ecstatic love, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu appeared in her very form. Srimati Radharani's ecstatic love, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu appeared in her very form. Seeing this form from a distant place, Nityananda Prabhu offered prayers. Seeing the ecstatic love of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu did not approach, but remained a little distant away. Only Nityananda Prabhu could catch Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, but the ecstatic mood of the Lord would not stop. At the same time, kirtan could not be continued. Svarūpa Dāmodara then informed the Lord that all the devotees were fatigued. Seeing this situation, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu came to his external senses. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu then entered the flower garland with all his devotees. After resting there for some time, he took his afternoon bath. Then there arrived in large quantities a variety of food that had been offered to Śrī Jagannātha, and a variety that had been offered to the goddess of fortune. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu finished his afternoon lunch, and after his evening bath he went to see Lord Jagannātha. As soon as he saw Lord Jagannātha, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu began to dance and chant. Afterwards, accompanied by his devotees, the Lord enjoyed sporting in the lake called Narendra Sarovara. Then entering the flower garden, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu took his meal. In this way he continuously performed all kinds of pastimes for 8 days. The next day Lord Jagannātha came out from the temple and riding on the car returned to his own abode. As previously, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu and his devotees chanted and danced with great pleasure. During the Pandu Vijay, Lord Jagannātha was carried, and while he was being carried, a bunch of silken ropes broke. When the Jagannath deity is carried, at intervals he is placed on cotton pads. When the ropes broke, the cotton pads also broke due to the weight of Lord Jagannātha. and the cotton floated into the air. Rāmānanda, Vasu, and Satyaraj Khan were present from Kulīna-grāma, and Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, with great respect, gave them the following orders. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu ordered Rāmānanda, Vasu, and Satyaraj Khan to become the worshippers of these ropes, and every year bring silken ropes from their village. It is understood that silken rope was being manufactured by the local inhabitants of Kulīna-grāma. Therefore, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu asked Rāmānanda, Vasu, and Satyaraj Khan to get ropes every year for Lord Jagannāth's service. After telling them this, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu showed them the broken silken ropes, saying, "Just look at this sample. You must make ropes that are much stronger." Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu then informed Rāmānanda, Vasu, and Satyaraj Khan that this rope was the abode of Lord Shesha, who expands himself into 10 forms and serves the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For a description of Sheshanaga, refer to Adi Lila 5.123 through 124. Bhagyavan Satyaraj Vasu Rāmānanda Seva Agnya Bhaya Hoila Parama Ananda. After receiving orders from the Lord for the rendering of service, the fortunate Satyaraj and Rāmānanda Vasu were highly pleased. Every year thereafter, when the Guṇḍicā temple was being cleansed, Satyaraj and Rāmānanda Vasu would come with the other devotees and with great pleasure bring silken rope. Thus Lord Jagannātha returned to his temple and sat on his throne while Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu returned to his residence with his devotees. Thus Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu showed the Ratha-yātrā ceremony to his devotees and performed the Vrindavana pastimes with them. The pastimes of Lord Chaitanya are unlimited and endless. Even Sahasravadana, Lord Shesha, cannot reach the limits of his pastimes. Praying at the lotus feet of Śrī Rupa and Śrī Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Śrī Caitanya Charitamrita following in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the Śrī Caitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, 14th chapter, describing the performance of the Vrindavan pastimes at and the Hera Panchami Yatra. Balo, balo, sadhu, sadhu, jai, jai, bravo, bravissimo, danya, danya. Okay, we'll take 3 reflections or questions from the outside and no doubling down, and 3 from the inside. Start with the outside. Question, reflection. 3 only.
Hare Krishna. This is the first time that I caught verse 235, where Lord Chaitanya took on the very form of Srimati Radharani. I never caught that before, so thank you for that.
I'm with you on that.
And I just wanted to mention, and then the other verse that was quoting from the Brahma Samhita about the opulence of Vrindavan, every step is a dance and all the trees. I just wanted to mention that the trees in Vrindavan, the desire trees in Vrindavan, Madhavendra Puri himself is a desire tree from Vrindavan. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. That's 1. Get 2 more. Namachintamani will choose.
This is regarding closing the morning session, the topic of Lord Jagannātha from Dwaraka and the discussion about it. There is one place where it's there in the Vedas, the conversation where Prabhupada is asked this question about you've given this name Radha Parthasarathi, so Radharani in the battlefield, when Parthasarathi refers to the form of Krishna who is fighting. So Prabhupada simply replies by saying that, do you think that when Krishna is there as Parthasarathi, Radharani is not there? So it is very direct reply which Prabhupada gave. And the other thing about the story of how Rohini is narrating this pastime, and then that's how they got those forms. There is a conversation where this story is brought up to Prabhupada, and they ask him for confirmation, is this true? And Prabhupada simply says something to the effect, maybe. So he doesn't confirm it nor deny it, just as a point of information.
It comes in the category of Āiṭoṭā. Means Shruti pratyaksham Āiṭiyam anamanam chatushchayam pramaneshvanam astadad vikalpat savirajite. Kṛṣṇa said that. He said there are by these four kinds of evidence you should make advancement in spiritual life. And Āiṭoṭā means passed down by word of mouth. So maybe. Okay, you get one more outside.
I've heard of, I know they do the return Rath from the Guṇḍicā temple back to the Jagannātha temple, but do they do a
Hera Panchami?
Yeah, Hera Panchami?
Yes.
They do?
Yes.
Okay.
Would you like to go?
Did you go?
To Hera Panchami?
Yeah.
No. I went to the return Rath, but I didn't see the Hera Panchami.
Okay.
Actually, maybe I did, but it was not extensive. It was raining extensively, so I think we went briefly, and saw that. We have a little darshan there. Yes. Come to think of it. Okay, 3 inside, and we'll let. Who's going to choose besides me? Okay,
how does
ahead.
the goddess of fortune look like in the deity form there? It's just, I was wondering, maybe some other devotees saw it or saw her inside the temple. Just a short comment on the Madhavendra Puri's identity. Actually, Kavikarna Puri says in Govardhana Dipika, he is like a desire tree because all the ecstatic love comes from him, which we read. All the ecstatic, he is the source of all ecstatic love. But sometimes erroneously translated that he is a desire tree. So if there is no pramana directly from Prabhupada or Acharyas, it's the only that verse it can be translated, or it is translated as he is like a desire tree.
Well, can we pray to him?
Of course.
Will he fulfill all the desires because he's like a desire tree?
Oh, he is.
Okay, I'm going to do that from now on.
And just one sentence from the previous chapter I was really... Prabhupada says that one has to be noticed by Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. And a little service with sincere efforts will convince the Lord that one is a proper candidate for returning home back to Godhead. Little service with sincere. And then further on, devotees of Kṛṣṇa must persistently seek the favor and mercy of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu to become fit to return home back to God.
Hari, Hari. Okay, you have to deliberately choose who's next. You can't just... Nobody else?
No hands? Okay.
Maharaj, one thing I was noticing that how the devotees are fixed up in their service. Whenever there is a time of prasadam comes, Vaṇināthaya will jump up and his mentions will come that Vaṇināthaya brought all the prasadam, and whenever the crowd like Kasi Sir, Kasi Mishra and others, I see that there is like a pattern is all, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami will mention everyone's name. They did this service.
They all had their services.
They all had their service and they stick to their service.
Yeah. Just like we have Radha Kripa Prabhu when we make the pilgrimage from ISV to Los Angeles Ratha-yātrā. He's our Shivananda Sain.
Yeah. And towards the end, I was appreciating how one of the definition of sincerity I heard that filling the gaps, and when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw that the rope got broken and he immediately found out that okay, he gave that service. And as you and Guru always says that how our service save us, service will save us, and that's like a literally we can see this rope was a service that they got, and that rope kind of pulled them back to the, and like you tell always, this rope pulls us back to the spiritual world. So you can always remember this, how this silken rope example that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to the two Ramchandra, sorry I forgot the name, the two Satyaraj, no, Kulīna-grāma's two residents.
Let's get their names here. They're Rāmānanda Vasu and Satyaraj Khan.
Yeah, Rāmānanda Vasu and Satyaraj Khan.
RV and SK.
Yeah, thank you, Maharaj. I was just remembering that.
Nicely done. Okay, last one.
Hare Krishna, Gurmaharaj. I was very happy and thrilled to hear this wonderful nectarian descriptions from the different scriptures. And I noticed there were many verses quoted from Śrī Ujjvala Nilamani, which is the sequel to the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. I am a lowly servant on the team of devotees with the BBT working on presenting Śrī Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. We're finishing it this coming months, and it will be published early next year. And I wanted to take the opportunity to request all the devotees present to please pray to Giriraj that we can one day present a BBT edition of Śrī Ujjvala Nilamani for the pleasure of the devotees, if the Lord permits and so desires.
Hare Hare! Okay. If you have questions, just hold them. As we'll come back to you, we have to make progress, because I have Amrita Sagar here making sure I move along.